Okay, so this is going to be a real short video on the gambler's fallacy, what it is and why it's wrong. So the gambler's fallacy is the belief that when you have multiple instances of some random event happening in a specific way, it is less likely to continue than it is to stop, which is a little bit overly vague. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the example of flipping a coin 3 times in a row. Now, if you flip a coin twice and it comes up heads both times, a lot of people will believe that it is more likely to come up tails that third time instead of heads, because the odds of getting heads 3 times in a row are pretty low. And that is the gambler's fallacy. And we're going to explain why that's wrong using this little visual aid to hopefully make it a little bit easier to digest. So, what we see here is the field of possibilities for flipping a coin 3 times in a row. Each column represents one possibility. This one here showing flipping heads, 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 then 2 heads, and then a tails, so on and so forth. We can see that there are 8 different possibilities. Each one is equally likely. And the reason that we are using this kind of visual aid is because it's really easy to see here why the odds of flipping 3 heads in a row are 1 in 8. Because there are 8 possibilities, and in only one of them do we get 3 heads in a row. Conversely, flipping 2 heads and a tails, there are 1, 2, 3 possibilities. So flipping 2 heads and a tails, odds are 3 in 8, significantly higher. But let's see what happens when we actually start flipping coins. So we flip the first coin here, and it comes up heads. But here's the trick, because when we look over here, these possibilities are not equally likely anymore. The odds of a coin flip, they're only 50-50 before the flip happens. After it happens, we know exactly what happened. It came up heads. We know that the possibility has to be one of these 4. These 4 are no longer possible. And here we can see what the problem with the gambler's fallacy is. We're no longer looking, once we look at the next coin flip, at the entire field of possibilities. We're only looking at a segment of it, because these are the only ones that are still possible. And when we see this next coin flip, we see that the odds are again 50-50, because there are now 4 possibilities, and in 2 of them we get heads for the second flip. And so we flip this one, comes up heads again, and just like before, we can see these 2 possibilities are no longer possible. And then we finally get to the third coin flip, and we can see what the problem was. Whereas a lot of people would believe that the third coin flip is less likely to be heads because the first 2 were also heads, we can see here that just like every coin flip before it, the odds are 50-50. There are 2 possibilities right now, one of them where heads comes up, one of them where tails comes up. They're equally likely. And that, in a nutshell, is the gambler's fallacy.